Good afternoon, Central Baptist Village. Welcome back to another Make It Monday. I'm Teresa, and today I'm going to show you how to make this watercolor painting using rubbing alcohol. So we're going to be exploring some different reactions to watercolors today. And I'm going to move the camera over here so you can see. Sorry. There we go. So you can see my little workstation. So this is a painting I'm going to make today, and the reason I was thinking about mushrooms so much is it had been raining last week a lot, and every time my son and I went outside, we would find mushrooms everywhere, and we started talking about how tiny elves must be if they live in mushrooms, because mushrooms are already so tiny, so elves must be like teeny tiny. So I was inspired by these conversations about magical elves and gnomes and mushrooms, and decided to try out some alcohol rubbing alcohol reactions with watercolor. So I'll show you today how I did that. So first we're just going to start with a small piece of watercolor paper. I decided to go small just because I'm making a small painting, but you of course can do any size that you want. So I'm going to move these to the side for now. So for drawing, I'm using just an art pen, an archival pen, but you can use any black pen, any ink that you want. And if you wanted to start with drawing first with pencil, that's fine. I feel pretty comfortable. I've drawn stuff like this for my child a few times, so I feel pretty comfortable with it. So this won't stand up, so let me see if I can. There we go. Now it looks like I'm advertising this lovely alcohol bottle, but I'm not. All right, so I'm just going to draw first this mushroom. So just going to draw the stalk first, kind of this lumpy, bumpy stalk. I don't know what these things are called, but like these kind of funky, this like turtleneck thing that hangs off of the mushroom. Drawing that next. Almost looks like a volcano right now. And then I will draw the underside of the mushroom cap, or the gills, and then the outline of the mushroom cap. So this is kind of giving you a perspective from under the mushroom. So sort of like you are as short as the elf or the gnome that's going to be next to it. So you're kind of looking up at the mushroom. So I'm just going to add some detail here. So for the gills under the mushroom cap, I'm just making straight lines. And again, I'm just freehanding this, so whatever you think looks good. However many gills you want to put per square inch is fine. Or maybe yours doesn't even have that. Here, I'm going to move this guy back a little bit. How about over here? Okay. This will give me a little more room to draw. And then I'm just going to draw like little, I don't know what these are, spots. Spots on a mushroom. And then I did put like little, I don't know, pleats. What are those, pleats on the fringy part? And then maybe a few more spots here on the mushroom itself. And then let's see, We're gonna have a little guy off to the side, kind of saying hello. So I am gonna start just for myself. I think it's easiest to start with the face. So I'm gonna start with this mustache, which is really the most prominent part of a gnome, I think. Then his nose, his eyes, his little eyebrows. Okay, so you can kind of see his face starting to come together there. Ears. And you always want to put the ears, these two ears, you want to put them like right below eye level. That makes it look a little more realistic. And then maybe a floppy hat. There's so many different kinds of elf and gnome hats. And then I think I'm going to give my guy a little bit of hair here. Oh, he needs a beard. And maybe a smile. There's his smile. So he's kind of peeking out from behind this mushroom that's like so much bigger than he is. So maybe he's got most of his body kind of tucked behind the mushroom, but then he's got an arm waving hello here. His hand I've just made into a glove, and honestly, I do that a lot for like creatures that I don't know much about. I just give them a glove. It's so much easier than making fingers. So you do whatever feels right to you. And then I am just going to make some grass, just some kind of jagged lines for grass. So there we go. So that's the outline of our little mythical mushroom kingdom here. So I will get my paints ready. I'm going to move this out of the way. And I'm just using regular watercolor paints, just in a set. And what I like to do beforehand is if I know I'm going to use certain colors, then I will just take one of these droppers, put some water in the dropper, and then just like get that color wet. So I'm probably going to use the green for grass, probably going to use some blue for the gnome. I really like purple, so I'm probably going to use purple. Maybe some gold. Maybe a lighter blue for the sky. So I'm just kind of getting some of these wet here. And I mean, you could wet all of these. I know some people that will take a spray bottle and just spray down their entire watercolor set before they begin, which is a great idea, but I don't think I'm going to use all the colors. So I'm not going to do that for all the colors. Okay, so there's our water. All right, so I think I will begin with the mushroom itself. And I'm just using kind of a smaller, can you see that? A smaller round brush. Gosh, how do I, there we go. Can you see that? So just a round brush with a small tip. And I think I'm going to start making the mushroom orange. So we got some nice wet orange going over here. And I'm just going to try to avoid the grass if I can. I don't care if there's any like real bleeding. Oh, I must have picked up some other color here, like a green. Let me rinse that out. Try to just get orange. Oh, I also want mushroom. Mushroom. I also want purple. Excuse me, mushroom. I'm going to use purple here at the top. I've never seen a purple mushroom, but this is a magical kingdom, so Just gonna go for it. And I'm putting these colors on pretty wet because when we add the alcohol drops, having the paint that's on here pretty wet will be good. Okay, and then I think to connect the red and the purple, I'm just gonna use like this red, to connect the orange and purple, I'm gonna use this red in between, kind of let it bleed. So these are all pretty wet paints that are blending together here. The paper was not wet, just to clarify, for those of you that like to use watercolors, the paper was not wet when I started, but it could have been. And then it would have been much, an even like runnier look. Okay, so this is my little wild mushroom here. Kind of like how that's running together. Then I'm just gonna really try to quickly put down a blue sky because I want to make time for this, what do you call it? Alcohol action. So I'm just really quickly laying down some blue. Maybe I'm gonna put some green in the sky too. Let's see. Oh yeah, there we go. I like, oh, even some of the purple's bleeding out, some of the orange is bleeding out, which is good for this particular piece. That might not be what you want for everything, for every painting, but it's good for this one. Kind of adds to that oovy grooviness of this scene. Okay, and then I'm gonna try to get in here with a detail brush for the gnome or the elf guy down here. Let me finish the sky out. Okay, yeah, that's gonna look really, really nice when we get the alcohol drops on there. Okay, all right, so I've got just like a detail brush. Help me, I'll put it in front of the white paper. Detail brush, see how thin that is? And I am going to give this elf the gold hat. And let's see what else. What should he be wearing? I think he's gonna be wearing blue. Whew. That's a lot of paint on my brush, on my tiny, tiny brush. And let's see. I think I'm gonna give him brown hair. I guess I didn't get the brown very wet, but give him brown, light brown hair. Little brown beard. Okay, what else does he need? Oh, maybe he has a red glove on. Because why not? Okay, there's his red glove, and he's got to have a pink nose, I think. Come on. He needs a pink nose. It's light pink, but it's pink, and then the rest of his face I'll do this sort of light peachy color. Oh yeah, and I want to make his mouth a little bit pink too, so. Okay, so quickly I'll fill in the grass. And again, it's so fine if this bleeds, if these colors bleed together. It's just absolutely fine. It's almost like these lines that I've made are just suggestions. And then the paint goes wherever it wants to go. Okay, so here's what we have so far. I don't want to hold it up for too long because it's going to run, but you can kind of see, let's see. That's what it looks like so far. And we're going to take this alcohol, and I have, let's see, can you see that? I have just put some alcohol in a little jar. Makes it easier to dispense. I have a little pipette, and I'm gonna fill it with some rubbing alcohol, and I'm just gonna drop this rubbing alcohol onto the painting. So let me make sure you can see that really well. So I'm just gonna drop it. Can you see what's happening? Yeah, there we go. So I can do like some tiny drops like that, or some bigger drops. And you know what? This orange has already dried in that amount of time. Let's see. I'm gonna do, there we go. Okay, so you can kind of see how this is starting to look a little more magical. I'm gonna try to adjust the camera so you can see it a little closer up. So when you put those drops on, it just starts to look like, yeah, a little more mystical, a little more magical. Here, I'll show you the dried version. That's the dried version. Looks like I was able to control my spots a little more with the dried version, and here's the wet version that I just made. So it's a fun technique. If you're looking for something a little different, if you want to do something that, you know, when you want to break up the texture, this is a fun technique to try. So let me bring the camera back to myself. I hope that that was a fun technique, and I hope it's something that you can try. So again, here's the finished product, or this is the one I made before. So if you do end up using this technique, I would love to see what you make. So please send your finished products or a picture of them to Becca or to Crystal. And again, keep your ideas coming in. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.